Alright, so I said I'd do it. I'm gonna do it. Anyways, so I got this Harbor Freight blast cabinet. Central Crapmatic. Just kidding. Harbor Freight's got some stuff that's useful, but most of the stuff's cheap China. But anyways, it is modified now and works great. I highly recommend doing this if you have a blast cabinet. What was done was, one, buy you a bucket vac or one of these little shop vacs. You're gonna need it, unless you have a big one that'll work too, but all you need is a small one really. I've got some that I'm still waiting on, but the eBay seller's taking her sweet time shipping them. My China stuff came in already that I ordered a few days after ordering the vacuums. But anyways, I bought a fan controller. This has a receptacle on the bottom. It's fused, and you can either go full or variable, and you have, of course, the variable controller. You want this because you don't want to be pulling full suction, or you're going to be sucking out way more than you want out of the cabinet. So I run it on, somewhere in the black section, low, pretty much. Then you're going to have to cut open this hole where originally the vacuum goes, and you install this lovely little grill vent. That way you can adjust your intake of your vacuum. Obviously, open higher up, more volume, closed, more pressure, I guess, or PSI of suction. I went ahead and kept the original switch just because it was, why not? It's actually a 120 volt switch. Some people put floodlights, which I hear are good to keep the moisture out of the cabinet, which I'm actually starting to see happen, I think, because my media is starting to kind of clog up a bit, being siphoned through. So I might end up changing out the lighting system in it, I don't know. But right now I have LEDs, which are super bright. I'm not going to crank this thing up and show it in work because it's loud as hell with the vacuum and the air compressor. But anyways, get you some foil tape over the holes that are on this and this huge flap that's up here that collects media. Then you seal this, not with silicone, but with a polyurethane caulk. I used like a roof and flashing caulk. I think it was Loctite brand maybe. But anyways, you want to caulk all the seams. Then I taped over this lip where the screen used to sit, and I cut the screen down and dropped the screen lower so I can fit more in it. Here's my LED light strips. I've got 2 in here. I made a baffle out of sheet metal over there to cover that vent. And I salvaged the original wire over there for the LEDs, and I just put tape all along where the wiring goes. I noticed this baffle is open on the top and the bottom. I think the top is supposed to be sealed. That way it pulls airflow across, down, and up. So I will need to seal the top of mine still. They recommend running I think it's like a Dust Doctor or something like that. Those are $60-something. I've got a China one that was $20. It works just as good. I've got some Bilge pump hose that came from Home Depot for all of maybe 10 bucks. Works like a champ. Threw some duct tape around it to make sure it seals tight. Good to go with some PVC attachments. The back is the original cover plate that I just drilled a hole and put a PVC fitting on. Yeah, I put a reducer piece on the inside to kind of pinch it on, and then I've used that polyurethane caulk to make sure it stays in place and doesn't come loose. This is polyurethane and, of course, bolted down to a bucket, obviously. Next, I got rid of the inlets over here, and we ran 2 hoses, air hose, media hose. Air hose doesn't need to be super high pressure regulated, or higher pressure, not regulated, but pressure rated, because it's not actually holding pressure. It's literally just a blow through. So my gun that's in here, see if I can get this for you. My gun, I don't remember what brand this is. It's like a Speedway Tools maybe or something like that. You can get these from Eastwood with the gun and the pedal for 60 bucks. So much nicer, easier on your fingers. This pedal works wonders. However, they're sold out and on back order until like this summer. It's like 4 months away or so. I didn't feel like waiting that long, so I paid, I don't even remember how much, about 30 bucks more than what it would have cost. It came out to right at 100 bucks versus the 60, so 30, 40 bucks more to go ahead and get it. Then, this metering block. You can get these from Tacoma company. By the way, Tacoma is an awesome company, and I highly recommend if you have the money and want to just order this kit straight from them. It's straightforward. You don't have to piece part all this stuff together. I don't really have the budget to go through them right now, so I went with a bunch of China parts and shifted a bunch of this stuff. But this is identical to their old system. I actually got this off of eBay. There's some China company that sells them as well. You just have to come up with this little flange and nipple. I think this is a threaded conduit or something like that. And then just a threaded nipple. I think the plug comes with it. This pretty much from here down is what you get. This is just an adjustment for the media. It's got a hole here and then 2 more in the back. And you just unscrew to allow the airflow to pull media siphoned up this hose and into the gun, obviously. I have this disconnected here. This is my intake for the vacuum, so I can just move my vacuum over here when I need it, since I'm still waiting on the dedicated one. And I'll just hook this into the intake and leave my other hose over there, since this one's duct taped to my Cyclone system. And you just kick the vacuum on, plug my air line in here, and I've got a regulator over there that I regulate down to about 50 or 60 psi. I want to say you're supposed to be able to run them at like 40. This cabinet showed like 125 psi. That's crazy high. I think that's the maximum, whatever. For the gun, I don't know what the gun actually outputs on here, but it seems like 60 does the best for me, so that's what I'll run it at. So 60 psi. Oh, and I made this little cart with casters on it, some Harbor Freight casters, and works like a champ. And I bolted my pedal up so it can actually move around with my blaster. It's, all of a 1/4 inch off the ground, but enough to where it clears. And the hoses, of course, are Home Depot specials, but they work. And the Sandblaster or blast cabinet works like a champ. These were surface rusted out the ass. These are the hinge plates for the Mustang. Nice and clean now. And I have no clue where the driver's side ones, or the passenger side ones are. Those are the driver ones. But I'll have to clean those up as well, but yeah. Oh well, okay, these are marked right. Oh, never mind. Those are the driver, these are the passenger ones. Where the bolts are is what I'm curious of. But anyways, so that's it. The blast cabinet you can get on Harbor Freight, or from Harbor Freight, on sale for normally around 100. I think they retail for like 160, 180, something like that. I want to say I paid roughly 100 for the cabinet. The metering block, I think, was about 70 pre-built. You can get just this lower piece for 40 or 50, I think, and then acquire the other pieces and put them together. Or maybe it's 60 for this lower. I think I paid like 70 for the piece already on it, whatever. I actually thought it came with this piece as well. You have to drill this, obviously, too, and it just kind of pinches on there. But I thought it came with this when I first bought it, and then later found out that it doesn't, so I thought it was saving me some time having to drill that. But let's see, I want to say I have roughly 200, 250 in add-ons, if that, with everything, with the vacuum, the Cyclone, the pedal, gun, this metering block, hoses, controller, the LEDs, this little fan or barbecue grill thing, and the new caulk. Oh yeah, this too, glass. Swap to Lowe's. You order these little Knurled nuts off of Amazon, and you put like, I think it's 1.5 inch bolts, and put a nut on underneath, and you just drill out this piece on the other side a little bit to allow the nut to sit down, so it sits down tight on the seam, and replace that plastic or plexiglass, because it creates static and the dust wants to stick to it. This just kind of brushes off. It's actually on the inside mainly, but it brushes off no problem. And the double pane glass that comes with the blast cabinet you put on top, and you use the single pane that you get from Lowe's for dirt cheap. I think it's like I don't know why, maybe 10 bucks for 3 of them or something like that, or 12 bucks for 3 of them. It's stupid cheap. But you just replace that underside when, as you go. I've got some up there, those in the brown paper. That's the other 2. So I think it's 24 by 36, and you cut them in 12-inch widths. So you get 3 of them out of that sheet. But yeah, that's the media I pulled. Well, I had extra media, but I would used to have to run roughly this whole bucket with that siphon system for it to be continuously running. This runs off of 3 cups now. Literally 3 buckets of media I have now because it only runs on 3 cups. And when I say cups, I mean Dixie cups. I think Tacoma says with their full kit, you can run it on a single cup of media. They sell, instead of taping off the things, they sell the actual sheet metal covers and the door covers and the whole works. Like, they had this thing nailed. So I highly recommend checking them out. You got to call them. Their website's still under construction, I think. But check them out. If you don't have the money to go their route, I want to say he said you can get their kit for $280, their base kit. They're fully top of the line. Everything upgraded is like 5 something, I think. But it's a way nicer gun, way nicer pedal than this shitty one I've got. And it's everything but the Cyclone system. You still got to get the vacuum and the Cyclone setup bucket, etc. I think. But I want to say they have the light kit and everything. But yeah, check them out. And like I said, if you don't have the money to, shoot me a message. I'll get you links if you need them for where I got all my stuff from. There's another video online on YouTube. I don't even remember the guy's name, to be honest, but he did pretty much this exact setup, and that's where I got several of the links. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back to work on the pedal box as soon as I get this thing out of here. Still gotta get this bad boy assembled again. But it's dinner time. See y'all later.